Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, guys, please help me welcome former Browns OG, our official offensive correspondent and friend of the show, John Greco. John! How are you?
Guys, good to be with you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, we missed you.
Yeah, we did. We did.
I know. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances with the Browns starting the season, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and so I mean, you're already taking us there. So let's go with it. Let's talk Browns. What is going on with this offense, John?
It's just been wildly inconsistent, and watching the game. I was at the Giants game, but I've been on my couch watching the other games, like some of us, and I'm just trying to find what is their identity. Even though the stats last week against Washington, you had two running backs that were averaging an efficient average, and those were kind of cheap yards late in the game. But at halftime, I think they had single-digit rushing yards. It looks like they've completely gone away from what Kevin Stefanski has done in the past with one back, heavy sets, running downhill, pulling guards. Getting guys moving in space and having athletic linemen pull and block little guys. It just seems like the kind of identity of the offense is like that meme of Spider-Man when there's like four Spider-Men and everyone's pointing at one another. Yeah. It's like, what do we want to be? And I get it. They're trying to tailor it to Deshaun Watson and feed into some of his strengths, which are get in the shotgun, spread things out a little bit, and try to create favorable box counts with six men and try to run the ball that way. But it's been just wildly inconsistent. And when you couple that with lackluster offensive line play, quarterback play that's been spotty, and then when it's accurate and Deshaun's delivering the ball, guys are dropping the passes, or he's overthrowing them, missing throws, missing reads, guys aren't open, and then you have the penalties. So it's a lot right now, and they have to get things figured out and get it figured out quick, or the season's going to be over.
Yeah, absolutely, and I know
that thing's gonna be depressed all over again.
Yeah, just reliving it so succinctly made it that much worse too. But no, so I mean, obviously there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things going on. There's coaching, like you said. There's literally top to bottom. We could talk about everything, but the O-line has been a huge part of the struggles, and that's your specialty. And so, this line looks night and day different between this year and last year. Even though last year we had injuries as well, and there was, multiple versions of the O-line that they trotted out. So, my next question is kind of a three-parter here, right? And I'll let you tackle them as you will. But, first of all, how big was the decision to let Bill Callahan out of his contract? How's that affecting the team now? And would things be different if he was still here?
Yeah, this is the $1 million question, and it was something that concerned me in the off season, and it is what it is. His son got a head coaching gig. Of course, he's going to want to go coach, and the Browns, kind of did the honorable thing and let him out of his contract to go join his son, which I thought was a high character move. But it's a business. So putting all of that aside, anytime you lose a guy that's coached in the NFL for 4 decades, that's been in big plays, that has coached Hall of Famers, that has coached all pros, Pro Bowlers, turned guys that really helped mold guys' careers and made them into the great players that they are. Anytime you lose a figure like that in your staff and in your building, it's going to be a huge hole to fill, a huge void. And, I don't want to sit here and trash Andy Dickerson. I don't know him. He was part of a Seattle offensive line that was in the better third of rushing and the better third of pass protecting O-lines in the league for his time throughout his time in Seattle. So it's not like this guy just landed from outer space and they just gave him a job. He was qualified. But unfortunately, right now they're trying to play catch up and they're doing little things. they're doing little things that are uncharacteristic of the Browns' offensive lines that I've seen these last few years. And it's just they're not doing the little things correctly. They're having missed assignments, mental errors. They're not picking up twists. Guys, they've been getting beat on twists every single game. And anytime I've been a part of something like that in my playing career, if you see it 1 week and you can't pick it up, you're going to see it for at least 3 to 4 weeks until you shut it down. Teams are going to say, we can twist and get home with four rushers or adding a fifth rusher, go 5-on-5, and put everybody else in coverage. Of course we're going to do that. So until the Browns consistently shut that down, for 2 to 3 weeks in a row, they're going to still see it. So they have to get in. They have to rep it throughout the week. It's got to be a point of emphasis for each guy individually, physically and mentally at practice, because until they shut those down, they're going to keep seeing it. So getting back to the whole, Coach Callahan thing, losing a guy like that's got so much experience, he's so talented, he's such a great offensive mind, it's going to be big. But, that's the reality is he's gone. I don't know what his influence on the run game, the pass protection, the game plan was, but certainly it looks like it's missed right now. So they have to get it figured out, and they have to get it figured out fast.
Yeah.
So, John, it sounds to me, like a lot of what you're saying is probably scheme based with Callahan leaving and just doing some new things. But I think you kind of nailed on the head earlier, talking about the identity looks different, right? I mean, even gone are like the simple play action things because you're just not running the ball the same way. We've seen a couple of different iterations of this line. I mean, are you still confident in the personnel group as a whole, and is this mostly scheme, or are we starting to have questions now around guys are getting older? You hate to, we're all fans of guys like Batonio and these guys, but from a personnel standpoint, do we still have the guys to get it done?
I think so. Yeah. And you mentioned Joel. He's, probably over the hill, as we like to say, in his career. He's been at the top of his game for a long time, and he's going to continue to do that. But you wonder, he's not going to play 6 more years. I mean, I hope he does, but I think that we kind of see that his window as a Brown and maybe as a pro is starting to close. I'm not saying that his play is deteriorating, but you just wonder how much longer he's going to play. So we're trying to take advantage of some of these guys that are veterans that are in their prime. When their play is still at a high level, we have to take advantage of that because we have them now. We can't think about the future. We have to worry about the guys that are in the building now. And to your point, when we first started, they've dealt with injuries. It's not like this is a new phenomenon. Every team deals with injuries. So I just thought that in years past, they've been able to overcome those injuries and still put together a good product on the field. Look, losing Wyatt Teller is big, especially in the inside. I played guard, I played center. Stabilizing the middle and stabilizing the pocket is so huge and so vital to pass protection, because it allows those tackles to get their depth. It allows Deshaun to get his depth and his drop, and then he can work up in the pocket, and those tackles can run the rushers by at depth. But when the pocket's collapsing and getting penetration from the middle, he has nowhere to go. He's trying to find lanes and gaps and squeeze through, and he's getting hit left and right. So they just have to dig deep and find something that they have to say, look, it is what it is. We know what's coming. We're going to get pressure. We're going to get twists. There's blood in the water. We have to, us 5 guys or whoever's dressed on Sunday, we have to show up and put a stop to it, because, you're starting to talk 6, 7, 8 sacks a week. That's not good for anybody. I've been a part of lines that are struggling, and it's not fun. You have to get it corrected, and it starts in the meeting rooms and at practice.
No, I mean, you kind of led right into it. Is we're all about solutions here, or at least we like to think we are. We try to be. So, we could talk at length about the problem and some of the things that they could try and work on. But in your opinion, is there an actual, is there a tangible fix to this thing that they could go and maybe it's as simple as going back to some of the fundamentals and things like that? Is there a tangible fix that you see to the problem?
I do. And, unfortunately, they're getting ready for Philadelphia now, and you don't have time to kind of go back to basics and go back to fundamentals in practice, because you're getting ready for the game prep. You're working on that week's game plan. So it's not like we could say, hey, at practice we have unlimited time to work on technique, work on fundamentals. The minutes, the reps are so crucial at practice. That's why you heard me mention the mental reps. Envisioning yourself picking up that twist. What do you need to do with your technique to pass one guy off to the lineman you're working in combination with to be successful? It's a lot of mental stuff, and right now that's where they're falling short. It's a lot of mental errors, and if you're not right mentally at the snap, how can you be right physically? So, do I think it can get fixed? I do, because it's simple things that they're screwing up. So if they can get those ironed out, I think you'll start seeing a little bit better play. And they just have to work incrementally each week, get better on something each week. Let's pick up twists this week. Let's be better in our combination blocks this week. Let's be better at identifying. Let's be more on the same page with the tight ends, with the running back, with Deshaun in pass protection. But they got to get it ironed out, guys, or you're going to continue to see a mess where it's like everybody's trying to, point the finger and figure out who's at fault, when in reality it takes all 11 guys plus the coaches to put together a good game plan and execute, and they're just falling short.
Yeah, that's a great point, John. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. I know that the offensive line has caught a lot of the blame early on, just because I think we all see the sacks and we go, geez, that's not good. But if you look at like the next gen stats, I mean, this offensive line, despite the injuries, is still showing top 10 in time to throw. So I guess just like, is that frustrating as a player, where it's like, everybody's kind of pointing the finger at you, but it may not be all the offensive line's fault at the end of the day. There's coverage sacks and other things that go into that. I mean, how do you as a player just compartmentalize and just block out the noise, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you hear Deshaun, you hear Kevin Stefanski in the press conferences when they're going to jump on the grenade and say, "Hey, it's on me. I have to be better. We have to be better. It's on me. It's on us." In that offensive line room, trust me, Coach Dickerson, the assistants, the veterans, all the players are doing everything they can to try to right the ship. They're not saying, woe is me and giving up. I've been in those rooms where you're just like, hey, we just got to keep digging, because we do not want to be part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution. And to your point, yes, statistically, with the time that they've been giving, unfortunately, nobody's going to want to hear that. Is it a reality? Yes. But the fact of the matter is they're not seeing the results. So, yeah, everybody has to elevate their game. Guys have to get open. Guys have to catch the ball. The ball has to be on time and in the right spot. And if it's not, someone's got to make a play and elevate, a less than perfect throw. You got to stick on your blocks a little longer. You got to run a little bit harder. You got to play a little bit, tougher, better. Everybody's got to dig deep and try to turn this thing around, or it's going to get really, really ugly. So, yeah, as a fan now, it's different. When I was in those meeting rooms, they've already turned the page. They're on to Philadelphia. They've closed the book on Washington today after the film. It is slammed shut. It is ancient history. And we get to all talk about it and stew and just, oh, my gosh, what is going on? This person's to blame. We have to make this change. Is this guy going to get fired? What's this guy done lately? Those are the things that fans and people in our situation, we can do. And I'm removed now enough to where I'm like, wait a second, I'm falling into that trap. But when you play, you're on to the next team. They have Philadelphia. Try to get that second win, and you get that second win, and then you try to get a third win, and hopefully prove everyone wrong. But it's got to start this week at practice. It starts, they're off tomorrow. It starts Wednesday. They have to turn this thing around.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, speaking of being on to next week, I mean, I wanted to ask you one more thing before we jumped off here. This week we have the Eagles, and as mediocre as they've been on defense this year, the Browns have been exponentially worse on offense. So, being that it is a mediocre defense, is this a week that you see the Browns getting back on track, or do you foresee the struggles continuing this week?
Well, look, Washington statistically had a bad pass defense, and they were not ranked very high in the defensive category. So, I hate to look at things on paper anymore until I see the results. So, no, you can't take anybody for granted. This team has Saquon Barkley. They're able to score a lot of points. They have an excellent run game. And defensively, if they're playing with a lead, any defense likes playing with a lead and can rush the passer. So we have to be able to, number one, eliminate mental errors and pre-snap penalties. I mean, that has absolutely plagued us. And it's just been mistakes at key times. I mean, you saw a young player in Zach Zinter jump off sides down near the goal line, and we all saw what happened after that with 12 men in the huddle and a timeout and then a delay of game and settling for a field goal. But it's just little things like that that are unfortunately stacking up for these guys right now, and it's causing them to lose games. So everybody has to be sharp. And you go in against Philadelphia. That's a fun environment to play in. It was always one of my most favorite stadiums to play in because their fans are live and rowdy, and they hate you, and it's just a lot of fun to play in. So hopefully the Browns are able to feed off some of that negative energy and silence the critics right now. But it starts up front with the guys. I'm always going to say that both sides of the line of scrimmage need to control the line of scrimmage and recreate that line of scrimmage. If they can be efficient in those opportunities where they're running the ball early, there's a reason why there's only single digits in the running game in the first half. It's because they're calling it, they're trying to get it established, it's not going anywhere. The more that they can establish the run game, the more they're going to be called. It won't be just a shotgun pass fest the whole game where you'll be seeing Deshaun run for his life. They have to be able to run the ball early, and that's what they've done in years past. That was the recipe. That was the formula when they were a playoff team. Run the ball, control the clock, take deep play action shots, and pass and get in the shotgun when you have to. So if they can be multidimensional and successful in the run game early, I think they can take this Philadelphia team down to the wire, because I don't think, at least, guys, Minnesota's having a great year. Obviously, Kansas City we're going to see tonight. There's some good teams, but I don't think any team is unbeatable. Just when you think you want to crown a team and say, oh, look, they're unbeatable, they give up 30 points or they have a couple interceptions or turnovers. That's what's the beauty of the NFL. It's any given Sunday. I hate to be cliche, but you can show up and get your butt kicked week in and week out and then come out and just turn the table. So if this is the week to do it, it would be a great one when everybody's counting you out. Show up, button everything up, and get a win.
Absolutely.
Love it. I know we're towards the end of time here, John. And I will say, at first, you made me feel really bad. And then you kind of slowly built me back up.
Yeah.
So I feel like a little bit better now. Like I was all doom and gloom, and I feel like there's some silver lining and some hope all of a sudden. But I did want to ask you just before we let you go, because it kind of seems like today, especially, kind of all of a sudden, the national media has finally caught on and is asking questions about Deshaun. Like how much longer can you kind of go down this road if the performance isn't there? I mean, obviously, like we've laid out, there's a bunch of problems, but the fact is he's 7th, I think, in the league in attempts and last in yards. This offense hasn't been doing well. Like how much longer can you ride that experiment out? And like, where are you in terms of, like, would you like to see what this offense can do under Jameis Winston? Obviously, we've had success last year with Joe Flacco, DTR, PJ Walker, a number of guys, and it just seems like for whatever reason, either Stefanski and him aren't on the same page. We just haven't seen a good version of Deshaun yet.
Yeah, before I answer that, I'm sorry for being so gloom and doom when we started the call, but I'm trying to process everything that I just saw.
You're a fan now, John.
In that Guardians game. But yeah, to answer your question, look, if you were just to pull Deshaun and put Jameis in there in that last game, do we expect to look night and day different? I don't know. I can't answer that. Is Jameis miraculously able to avoid sacks and pressures on a lot of those throws? I don't know. Are guys all of a sudden going to start catching the ball when the ball's there? I can't say that for sure. Maybe he doesn't miss as many throws as Deshaun has, or some of the throws that Deshaun's missed, maybe Jameis puts on the money. Do they have the penalties they do? Do they have the misalignments and the 12 men in the huddle and the procedural penalties? I don't know. So I think that's an easy thing for everybody to say, especially the national media. They're not paying attention. All of a sudden, they smell blood in the water, and it's just bulletin board material for them. They want to jump all over it. But for me, I'm not ready to throw it away. I get it. That's going to be the first move, because when all else fails, you have to make a change. I would agree with that. But, who's making that ultimate decision? I don't know if it's Kevin Stefanski. I don't know who it is in that building. I honestly can't say. I would think Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year twice in a row, or two-time Coach of the Year, he obviously understands that something has to change. And that's most likely in history, when the offense is sputtering, you make a change at quarterback. You can't make a change at a receiver. You can't make a change at left guard. Those are all little things. The quarterback is the obvious change you make. But right now, guys, I don't know if that's going to cure all of our issues. It might help, and at some point they're going to reach the point of no return and need a spark and look to someone else to provide that. But there's a lot of other glaring issues that are not Deshaun that are causing the problems and the issues that they're losing. Can Deshaun play better? Absolutely. Can we expect Jameis to come in there and have a magical second half of the year like Flacco? I don't know. Hopefully we don't have to find out. Hopefully they turn it around. But that is the obvious change when it happens that they're going to go to. And I just hate seeing it. I've been a part of O-lines where they make change at quarterback and it sucks. You feel a part of. You feel like you're directly responsible because like a guy's getting benched, and you're like, if I could have just done my job a little bit better. That's got to be the mindset moving forward.
Yeah. And now I'm not going to let you get out of it. Kenny had to get one more question in, but I'm not going to let you get out of it. What's your score prediction for this week, John?
I think they get over I think they get over the 20 points, the hump this week. I mean, it's got to happen. I know Vegas has it somewhere around 40, 44, 45. So I'm thinking that we kick a late one and we win 24-21.
Nice. I like that.
I like it.
Our board man, his favorite player is Dustin Hopkins, so he'll be excited to hear it.
I jokingly said I'm going to buy a Corey Bojorquez jersey a couple weeks ago, and I said I might, and then this past week I said, actually, yes, now I am. But same thing in special teams. There's been flashes of brilliance, and then there's been mistakes there. So it's every facet of the team right now. Just needs to get on the right track.
Well, I like how optimistic you are. So, and I appreciate it. Again, you started there after the hangover from the Guardians. You started us low, and then you continually built us up throughout this entire segment. And now I'm feeling pretty good. I might have to change some predictions. So I feel like we're ready to go.
It's funny, and it's Monday. Why go through the week? Why go through the week and just stress yourselves out all week? Now that I'm a fan and I do this for fun, I do your show, I do the radio, people get so angry at me. They're just like, how can you say that? Or you're nuts. And I'm like, look, this isn't my job. I used to play. It feels like it was 100 years ago. I'm just saying what I think and having fun with it. Don't get mad at me. I'm not. I get more hate now that I do things like this than I did when I played, and I think it's hilarious.
Leave John Greco alone.
We love having you on, John. We appreciate your thoughtfulness and the candid responses to the questions. It's been awesome.
I think it's funny that it's hilarious to me that when I played, I would get attacked, obviously, but it's way worse now. I'm like, why are you mad at me for my opinion?
Man. I will say Cleveland has the best fans, but they can also be ruthless. So
it's the best fans. There's hands down. I've played for other teams, and through everything, it's always the best fans. I can say that for sure.
And I will say it is one consistent with like every alumni we've ever talked to that's played for the Browns. They say my time in Cleveland was a highlight of my career.
Of course.
So,
we're big fans of you, John Greco.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm just messing around. I love having fun with it.
No, but hey, again, thank you for joining us once again, everybody. This has been former Browns offensive lineman, our offensive correspondent, and dear friend of the show, John Greco. John, thank you so much.
Guys, thank you for having me.